Hi, I'm Chris Rogers, and I'm at the Earth Rangers Centre in Vaughan, Ontario for a special announcement from Cisco Canada and Schneider Canada. Let's go check it out.
Ontario, and I'm here with Alan Taft, who is with Schneider Electric. Alan, can you tell us a little bit about what's going on here today?
Sure. So today we're announcing a Canadian partnership between Schneider Electric and Cisco. Our organizations have collaborated in different parts of the world, and we're now forming a strategic partnership in Canada.
Okay, fantastic. And can you tell us a little bit about why this is such a great place to make this announcement?
Sure. So we're at the Earth Rangers Center for Innovation and Technology. This is a world-class facility, LEED Platinum facility. Schneider Electric have partnered with Earth Rangers for several years now. So we've deployed quite a bit of our technology here, from metering, building automation, IP video security. Cisco have also partnered with Earth Rangers. So this is an opportunity for us to bring together at a world-class site and make this announcement for the Canadian public.
Fantastic, Alan. Thanks for being here. Thank you. Thanks. Hi, now I'm here with Rick Hybrids from Cisco Canada. Rick, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, can you tell us a little bit more about what's happening here today with Cisco and about why we're here at the Earth Rangers Centre?
Sure. As you know, Chris, we're really driving the Internet of Everything message in Canada. We see more and more objects and things being connected to the Internet. We see more and more that technology almost becomes synonymous to sustainability. Everything that is connected, we can monitor, manage, control from an environmental perspective. So it's important for us that we partner and team with companies that are excellent in this space. So Schneider Electric is kind of a world-leading firm in energy management, and we're going to looking at our portfolio of technologies and capabilities with that of them to really see how we can further advance and enhance energy sustainability for our customers.
Okay, and I think we should point out that we're talking about sustainability and all these certifications, and this is a Cisco data center behind this?
That's right. We installed at Earth Rangers, where we are today, and where Schneider also is a big partner. Pretty much all of our technologies, driven really by the data center behind us, which is our latest technologies, and we're going to use Earth Rangers as a living lab to test and validate and kind of promote some of the capabilities that we have together.
Fantastic. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hi, we're back, and we're with Andy Schomberger of Cisco Canada, and you worked with Earth Rangers prior to Cisco. Can you tell us a little bit about what Earth Rangers uses the data center for?
Sure. Earth Rangers has some pretty unique IT needs. They do a lot of outreach, teaching kids about protecting animals and their habitats. And doing that, they have websites, they have a lot of poster design, they're on public service announcements on TV, so a lot of media needs as well as the usual business needs. So we wanted to keep that all in-house. And there's a energy penalty to pay for that. And the Earth Ranger Center is a really green building, so they wanted to very carefully manage the energy used by the data center. So they've engaged Cisco Canada to use the most energy efficient technologies to enable them to keep those energy loads low while enabling the business. So they've actually won some pretty prestigious awards. For the previous design, they were named the 4th greatest IT organization in the world. And they were only beat by State Street, Citibank, and PricewaterhouseCoopers. And Earth Ranger was number 4. So you can see that they did some pretty unique, innovative things that are global at scale.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for being with us.
Very welcome. Thank you.
Now let's follow Andy as he takes us on a tour around the center to see what makes it so energy efficient.
We'll take you around the building, and when we have a moment, I'll actually show you some of the live data coming out of those systems, which is where a lot of the credibility for using the Earth Ranger Center as a tool comes from, because you're not just doing napkin calculations. You're actually showing how the building is performing, which resonates with people when you're bringing them through the building. So what I wanted to show you out here, I know it doesn't look like much right now, but all of the landscaping that you see is all native, drought-hardy domestic species. There is no fertilizers. There is no irrigation system, just the rain is enough. And if it's not, then the plants are okay with that in terms of periods of drought. Even you can see the pavers on the front of the lot here. These are all permeable pavers, so when that snow melts, it's going to go down in through and percolate back through the water into the water table after being filtered by all the media. So a lot of these technologies are really well established in green buildings now. You've probably heard of them, but there's a lot of them here on site. We went through a lot of the building-specific features inside, but that field out there is actually an Earth Rangers restoration project, actually called Project iRestore. And it happened because our site science advisor, is a biologist. We're teaching kids about biology and about habitats, so we had him to verify all of our facts. And he did a site survey and found that 90% of the plant species around the Earth Rangers Center were invasive. So we're saying about how super green our building is, and we're surrounded by weeds from Russia. So we chopped down 1,000 Russian olive trees that were taking over and inhibiting the growth of the native species. So that project, we actually did a controlled burn, and it's year 3 now, Peter? Year 3 of a habitat restoration, looking at bringing natural prairie landscape back in, getting those butterflies to come back. So again, Earth Ranger's kind of walking the talk. But we wanted a plan to get us there. So it was basically save as much energy as you can first, then switch all of your fossil fuel consuming loads to electrical, and then generate on site with the electrical that you can. So in other words, solar happens to be here. So we started implementing all 3 at the same time, just because we're not one to just dabble. We were, drinking from the fire hose, so to speak. So the end result is this project here. So there's a geothermal system, ground source heat pump is the proper terminology. So there's 44 wells that go 120 meters deep down under the parking lot. We've got GPS coordinates for all of them. And the idea is to harvest energy out of the ground in the winter and use it to heat the building, and then take the heat out of the building that's being absorbed by all those ceilings that I mentioned earlier, and reject it back into the ground. The really neat thing about that is in the summer, we can cool the building without any refrigeration equipment needed. So that's a 66,000 square foot building that is being cooled by a 10 horsepower pump. And again, most people don't believe that until we show them the data. We show them the systems and they go, okay, this makes sense. Neat way to do it, and then you start seeing more adoption. So this is the data center that we were talking about earlier. Rick mentioned just the number of devices being connected and that will be connected to the internet, and Earth Rangers has followed that same trajectory. So 8-9 years ago they had a little telecom closet that had the phone services coming in and copper for internet, and they just outgrew it. They got to a point where the servers and things that had been added were crashing and it just wasn't working anymore. So they went with a proper data center design, but they also did it with in Earth Rangers type fashion. So they went with extreme virtual levels of virtualization, which means less hardware needed to enable all of those servers and functions, with hard drives that were 4 times more efficient than the typical industry standard, and that won them some really prestigious awards. I made reference upstairs to how much energy the data center is actually using. So here's the live data. This is up to actually about 2 o'clock today. You can see the temperature in the room. It's right in that kind of optimal range. It's not too cool where we're wasting air conditioning energy, but it's not too hot where we're risking the efficiency of the hardware and not risking failure there. But this is the one number, again, the IT department hates when I point this out because they feel like, okay, fine, I'll shut it off. But the data center this month is 11% of the building. So 11% of the building's total energy use. So this is a 66,000 square foot building. That 110 square foot room is 12% of the load. And admittedly, it's pretty efficient. So it shows, one, that the building itself is obviously quite efficient, but it also shows you the impact of IT loads. And that does not include the printers, the monitors, the computers, the distributed office, and all those other IT loads. So we need to carefully manage those uses, and that's what the discussion today was about, was working with Schneider Electric, who, this is all their hardware and software that Earth Rangers has used to manage their energy, and making sure a robust network facilitates this. Here, so they bring drinking water out from the well. It goes through a carbon filter, it's UV treated, a little bit of chlorine to make sure it's sanitized, and use that for drinking water. Graphic designer has a sense of humor, you'll notice if you look into the details here. Yeah. And then all of the gray water, or black water, as it's called in the wastewater industry, is ending up being processed by the bacteria through aerobic and anaerobic digestion, through the filters, goes through UV light, goes to that big tank I was telling you about under the parking lot. We can also top that up with the well water in case we don't process enough waste or there's not enough rain. Then Vaughan Fire Department is always happy that there's water there in case they need it. And then pump it back up, use it in the toilets and urinals, and you can see 231,000 liters of non-potable used, but only 183,000 has come from the well. So that did not have to come from the well, so it reduced the demand on the well by 2/3. So visually, it's really effective. You can see the 2 horizontal pipes there. The bottom one is that activated sludge, that's the wastewater term for sewage. That's a clear pipe, they're both clear. The top one is the nice clean water coming out of those filters, and that goes out into the parking lot into a 300,000 liter tank that is there so that we can flush toilets and urinals with it, we can irrigate the green roof with it, janitor closets, anywhere we're not going to drink it or an animal's not going to drink it, or use it for hygiene, like showers. That's also used as a source of firefighting water. So heaven forbid, Vaughan Fire Department needs to show up with a truck. They have 300,000 liters that they can connect to and fight a fire with. So see how, again, it's more than just the energy or just the water. It's got to integrate into, actually using a building and living with it on a regular basis.